Hey yogis, today we're going to be doing a Yin Yoga practice for the heart meridian, the heart and lung meridians, so the energy lines that run kind of around the heart, the upper body, down through the arms. So each pose will hold for 3 minutes. And within each pose, we just have a chance to really slow down, to turn inwards, to focus on the breath, to just kind of take a look inside and just check in with ourselves. It's a really important practice, Yin Yoga in general, just if you've got quite a yang life, so if you've got quite an active life. But saying that, we can also have quite a yang mind, and we can be doing activities that kind of keep this yang, this activeness happening in the mind. And so Yin Yoga can also be a really good way to calm a yang, overactive mind as well. So even if you're not doing a lot of activity at the moment, this practice can still be really beneficial for you mentally. So I'm going to just get straight into the first pose. So just make sure you've got cushions and things for this practice. So we're going to come into a butterfly pose to start. So soles of the feet together. And I'm just going to move back a bit. Soles of the feet together. Legs butterfly out in like a diamond shape. And they're not really close to the hips. Okay, the heels are out a bit. Just about reach the heels with your arms is usually the cue that I give. Okay, so in your butterfly shape, take a big inhale. And then exhale to fold forward, softly surrendering over your legs. This is where we're going to stay. I'm going to set a timer for 3 minutes for us. And when you hear the bell again, that's your signal just to very slowly start coming out of the pose. So we're really taking the rush away from everything. Allow your head to drop down. And allow your awareness to rest on your breath. Each of these poses like a mini meditation. So a chance to turn in, just a little exercise for you to do while you're in your pose. As you inhale, just trace a line from your heart space down to your pelvic floor, just with your mind's eye. And as you exhale, from the pelvic floor back to the heart space. Okay, so as you inhale, from the heart space down to the pelvic floor, and then as you exhale from the pelvic floor back to the heart space. And just keep your soft awareness on that. The mind might get carried away by a thought. It most definitely will. And the practice is to just keep bringing it back to that direction of your breathing. So you can very slowly start to lift up and just bring your knees together. I'm going to come down now onto the belly for a Sphinx pose. So just moving your props out the way if you've got props. I'm going to set the timer up again for 3 minutes. So we're just on the forearms, elbows under shoulders or a little bit in front of the shoulders, not behind, okay, because we don't want the shoulders hanging, the shoulders supported by the elbows. Legs can spread a little bit apart. See if you can soften your buttocks. Space across the chest. Head can drop down a little bit. Chin slightly tucked. This is where we'll stay again for our 3 minutes. If you want to be up a little bit higher in a seal pose, you can. For those that want a bit more of a back bend, you can press into your hands and lift your chest a little bit higher. Okay, but you don't have to, just stay within your healthy boundaries. Okay, just closing your eyes if you haven't already. And coming back to that direction of breath. Inhaling from the heart space down to the pelvic floor. And exhaling from the pelvic floor back to the heart space. And just keep that going, just one breath at a time to focus on. Inhaling down. And exhaling back up. We can sometimes be confronted with uncomfortable sensation, physically, mentally, emotionally. We just stay, we just breathe. Keep coming back to that direction of breath. Obviously, if there's any kind of sharp pain happening, you definitely lower out of the pose. So with the bell, just sliding your elbows forward, coming down. One side of your face on your hands. Legs relax. Arms relax. Just take a few deeper breaths into your lower back. There's no rush, just slowing down. Okay, and then we're going to tuck the toes and just bring the hands under the shoulders and just push up to a tabletop position. Actually, we need to untuck the toes again, so we're going to come to a child's pose next. So you can do a wider child's pose with the knees wide and the big toes together, or knees together. It's really up to you. I'm going to stay for 2 minutes. Okay, so just sinking your bum back to your heels, resting your head down, set the timer. Just make yourself comfortable in your child's, however that needs to be. You can have a cushion under your head. So I like to just have my head on my hands. And again, just come back to that direction of breath. Inhaling from the heart space down to the pelvic floor. And exhaling from the pelvic floor back to the heart space. It's all we ever have to take in life, just one breath at a time. It's the nature of the mind to jump ahead into what's next and trying to plan and trying to prepare. But all we ever really have is this beautiful present moment, this one breath. Just really using your practice to come back to that, back to present. Okay, so from here, slowly coming back onto all fours. For the next exercise, we're going to do like a half puppy dog pose. So just bring your left forearm down, kind of across in front of you, and then your right arm comes out. Okay, and it just reaches forward. And then you might bring your forehead down just to rest on top of your left hand or your left wrist. Okay, I'm going to stay there for 3 minutes. And this just stretches out the right shoulder, under the armpit. You can probably feel where it's working. Stimulating the heart meridians. You can actually press a little bit into your fingertips with both hands, because the meridians, the energy channels from the heart, they actually kind of finish in the fingers, or at least they kind of change direction. They enter the fingers and leave the fingers. So that's a good point to kind of press into and stimulate a little bit more. Come back to that direction of your breath. Inhaling from the heart space down. And exhaling from the pelvic floor back to the heart. Each breath an opportunity to come deeper into the stillness that exists within your body. Just remember, the poses aren't supposed to be particularly comfortable. Okay, so if you are uncomfortable, it's checking in whether you do need to move a little bit, whether you need something under your head, or whether you just need to deepen your breath. Just breathe through it. And yoga can really teach us to stay calm through sometimes uncomfortable sensation on the mat. And then we can do that with greater ease and grace in life off the mat as well. Okay, so just looking up, pressing yourself up through your left forearm, through your right hand, and just walking back to that tabletop position again. We're going to do the other side, so right arm, right forearm down, left arm out in front, slide that arm away, rest the head down onto the right forearm. You might have a pillow there. I'm going to leave you with your breath, okay, for the next 2.5 minutes. That direction of breathing from your heart space down to your pelvic floor as you inhale, and from your pelvic floor back to your heart as you exhale. Just being with whatever is coming up. So slowly starting to push yourself up to a tabletop position. And then if it's okay for you to just sit back into a kneeling position. If you know kneeling isn't possible for your knees, then just cross-legged or any other way, just for a moment. And just feeling the upper body. Okay, so from here, bringing your legs forward in front of you. Actually, I'll turn to the side so that you can see me from this way. So both legs out in front, and you're a caterpillar, so it's a forward fold. But you can keep the legs a little bit softer, so you don't have to keep them active. You don't have to keep the feet flexed. You can keep the knees soft. And then you just kind of round the back over the legs. So as well as having a stretch in the backs of the legs, you've got a stretch a bit across the upper back. So the back of the heart space gets a bit of a stretch. And we'll stay here 3 minutes. Again, just adjust the depth that you come into the pose, so just make sure it feels like you can stay for 3 minutes. So usually that means in Yin Yoga we don't come straight away to our 100% capacity. We just stay at about 70-80%. And we just let time in the pose do the rest. Coming back to that direction of breath, that inhale from your heart space down to your pelvic floor, and the exhale from your pelvic floor back to your heart space. Inhale, heart space down to pelvic floor. Exhale, pelvic floor back to heart. Keep it going. I always like to ask myself and my students, what else can you relax in your body? Where else can you let go? So slowly start to peel yourself back up. And then we're going to lay back into a Shavasana, which we're just going to hold for 3 minutes as well. So we've been so still for the practice, you don't need as long. So just lay back and let your body completely relax. And now just let go of that directional breathing. I'm going to sit up to talk you through it. So let go of that directional breathing. Let your natural breath come back. And just be the space. Observe what those few poses have done to your energy. Just keep being the space. Observing this lightness, this expansiveness. So you can start to just bring a little bit of movement to your fingers and your toes. Maybe circling your ankles and your wrists. And then maybe reaching your arms over your head, just having a full body stretch. And waking back up. Taking your time getting up. I'm going to leave you here for today. Thanks for joining me. Namaste.